Hi, it's Linda from Linda's Paperworks. Today I'm going to be working on Junk Journal July prompt number 18, which is cut out in Meg Journal's event. And now I'm going to be working in my little after supper journal on this page, which is in the back section under the elastic again. And what I'm going to do is use this piece that I had after I cut out the journal spot that I put in the pocket here. And I thought, oh, that might be neat to use as a cutout. So I'm going to glue it down to this page and then tear an opening in here and put something on this page to see through the hole in this page. So the first thing I want to do is round the corners. Let's set this aside for a second. Okay. It still looks a little bit crooked to me. It probably is a little bit crooked still. Use my scissors and trim it back just a wee bit. Can't cut it back too much. There's not too much left there on that, between there. Okay, I'm going to cut this again. I like to go both sides because sometimes it seems like it doesn't round completely when you cut it one direction. And if you do both sides of the paper, it kind of evens it out. Don't ask me why. It's just been my experience with it. Still not the greatest, but we're going to go with it. Now, I want to glue this down, so I'm going to get a glue page here. And I think I'm just going to go ahead, well, wait a minute. I think I'm going to ink the edges of that with ground espresso. Just give it a little edge that will differentiate it from the background. Okay, I think it's back where I started. I'm going to use my Elmer's Craft Bond Extra Strength Glue Stick. See how it likes being gluey today. Whoops. Hope I keep the glue off the front. I just want to kind of center it on there as best I can, and as straight as I can. I think I've said this before, but I like to use the dry baby wipes when I have glue on something. It seems like this has a little bit of lotion or something in it originally, and it kind of I hope that's not peeling up. What I was going to say is that the baby wipe picks up the ink or glue or whatever without actually wetting your paper, but it still seems to take off the glue better than just a paper towel or tissue or something. There, we have that down. I probably should have inked the inside of that as well, but it's a little late now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my pencil, I think, and just kind of go to the middle of this, right about there, and just poke a hole. I've never done this before, so I hope I don't regret it. The pencil's not sharp enough. I'll use my scissors. Scissors don't want to do it either. Keep advancing. Use the knife. There we go. All right, now what I'm going to do is just tear out this in the center. I'm going to tear off part of it, and I'm going to roll the edges back is what I'm going to do. So I'll just start tearing here. I'm not going to go too much at one time, just kind of see how far out I want to tear back. Okay, that's a small hole. And let's see how this does. Just to tear it. Sorry if the light is casting a shadow there. I don't have my overhead light on today because it's so hot, and those lights are kind of hot and bearing down on me, so I'm trying to get by with just side lights. That was my washi tape that just slipped off of whatever it was on. I still want this to be in the oval shape like that, but I want it to be a little bigger so that whatever I put behind there will show up. And do I think that's big enough? Possibly. Depends on what I put behind there. I had this little Rocky Mountain Wildflowers book. I have it out just as an example of a flower size I could put behind there. What I really want is a rose, so because I have other roses in the book. I think that's probably the right size there. So I'm just going to roll this back and kind of just push it down, make it messy. And I may want to glue some of them down, perhaps, to kind of keep it in place. I think I'm going to tear that a little more. This is kind of fun. I think I like doing this. Okay. That seems like it's not glued there. Put a little Fabri-Tac under there. My glue eraser. Pick up the rest of it if I can. Okay, I think that got it pretty much. Now, do I want to glue this down around here? I guess I'll just use a little Fabri-Tac, but I'm going to be really careful about how much I blop out there. I'm just going to put a tiny bit here. Just enough to hold it down in place, and so it doesn't go wild. I want it to have a little bit of dimension and stick up, but I don't want it to stick up too much. This little book is getting quite chunky already with all of the things I've added to it. But I've had fun with this book. I like the size of it. It's fun to work in it because it's small enough that it's not a real big commitment to work on a page in it. but it's big enough to be, it's just a fun size. I just like it. And I'm getting glue on other pages now. Okay. I think that one's already glued. I could have avoided it if I just put something in between there and here to not get that glue back there. Anyway, it'll be okay. Now on this side, I don't know, do I want to do something there, or do I just want to leave the script there, or the text? I'm going to use the cleaner one and press this down a little bit again, just to get it to stay. I'm to this point. And that's about as far as I've thought about it very seriously. I cut this piece of vellum to the more or less to the size of this page, and what I want to do is draw and paint on this, because I'm not a very confident painter, and if I mess it up, then I could replace it instead of just doing it directly in here. And I think it'll be cute there, or you know, it could be attached here, but I think I want it on this page with the hole just open. So I think what I need to do is give myself some reference of how big this shape is. I want to be able to erase that. So maybe I'll go this way with it and just go here. I just want just a little bit of a line of reference. I'm probably going to go outside of it so that there's more on this page, but I want my main focus to be inside that line, which you can hardly see that, but anyway, it's there, so that may be helpful. I think what I'm going to do is turn off the camera a minute and get my watercolors and stuff that I'm going to work with. I'll be back. What I've done is I've gone ahead and I traced this and then improvised this rose on the side of that. And my circle of what I have, where I'm going to place the oval, is right about there. So it's mainly going to be that rosebud. And when you turn the page, you'd see this rose in the leaves. And I may put a quote up there or something like that. I haven't decided on that yet. But oops, excuse me, it will go in here like that. And I think that will be pretty. So I'm going to hold my breath and paint these roses. I drew them with my watercolor pencils, and these are just Crayola brand watercolor pencils. But the nice thing about using a watercolor pencil is you don't have to worry about the lines needing to be erased and they're still there or anything like that. So I'm going to put this aside for the moment and get my watercolors out. This is an old set that I've had for quite a few years, and they were just in the children's section at Walmart, like I said, years ago. Prang, I guess is how you say that, professional. And they're pretty, I mean, they're acceptable watercolors. I don't have any complaint about them. Use this. I just want to get this is my water brush that I got recently. I kind of like working with it. I still keep a little water on the side to dip my brush in, and rinse it out a little bit. But I kind of like the way that works. Get this over here. Okay, I need to put a piece of white paper behind where I'm working, just so what I'm working on is not distorted by the background. So I think I'll go ahead and start with the red first. And I think I'll start with this since it's kind of going to be out of the main line of view, and move this over to kind of get an idea of how I should make the rose petals look on there, more or less. Just get a little watercolor going here. I can tell my my palette up here is kind of messy, but maybe we'll find a spot here. Maybe here is good. Anyway, as I said earlier, I'm kind of a nervous painter, and so nervous is not the right word. I'm not confident, so that for whatever that's worth, I'm just flying by the seat of my pants as I normally do. So that's what is going on here, and I just want to make these dark spots in here, and then I'll make the rest of the rows a little lighter. Hopefully that will work. This is more light than this other piece. This rose is probably more what I'm trying to accomplish. So we'll see how it goes. Let's see this. I'm not used to painting and talking at the same time. So if I go quiet, that's the reason. And this is vellum that I'm painting on. And the reason I wanted to put it on this is I really want the music sheet behind it to show through. So that was my idea on that. I don't know how well this is going to do, but we'll see. You learn by practicing. If you don't try, you're not ever going to have any success. You have to just jump out there and do something and see what happens. And as we like to say in junk journal world, it's just paper. If you mess it up, well, get a new sheet and start over. And it's the fun of it is what I do it for. And, you know, if I'm not great at it, then, well, that's okay, too. Even my favorite painter, Monet, probably had to start somewhere, although he probably had a lot of talent. Okay, that's not the greatest, but it's going to have to do for right now. I think I'm going to add something that makes it a little darker, maybe a little bit of a little purple in there, just to darken up a few places, back where the shadows would be. I mainly want it to still look bright and light, so I don't want to do too much of this. Just put it in here. Let's see, that's the purple. And I don't want it to be too overworked. I want it to stay loose. So I'm going to stop on that and work on this rosebud up here. See how I do with that. And it's got a dark spot up here in the top. So I'll add that in first, and then I'll go back to the red. And this one has a little bit of purple there. A little purple on the side. Actually, both sides. And I'm going to get more red. Get a little water from the other source. It's not as bright as I want it to be. There we go. Okay, let's see what we can do here. And just some there. And this. And I think part of the thing is to leave some white in there that just gives it a little sparkle. You don't want to cover up everything. Let's put a little bit there. Okay, that's a start. Wash out my brush and go to green. Okay, I'm going to use some of my greens that I already have up here that are, I mixed, this is a real bright green, like that, so I don't want that. I want it to be kind of dulled down a little bit, more like that. Maybe not quite that much. And I want to get enough here that I won't have to keep remixing. Okay, this little part right here, stamen, that's not a stamen, I forget what you call those. Just have a little pointy on it. And speaking of pointies, this brush is losing hair. This vellum paper reacts to water. So it may end up being a little crinkled. I may have to put it under something to flatten it out. I may come back and try not to mess it up, but put some more darker in those and not have them so pink. But there's really nothing wrong with it being pink either, so anyway, we'll just keep going. Learning to be confident in it is, I think it's part of the deal to learn how to paint, just to not worry too much about, oh, I'm gonna mess it up. Don't worry about that. Just have fun with it and see what happens. I mean, the worst that happens is, well, you don't like this one, but you learn something and you try again later and do something you like better. And I'm certainly no expert, that's for sure. But I do like playing with them and just seeing, you know, how it comes out. Sometimes you like it, sometimes you don't. But it does help to have something that you look at to copy, I think. At least it does for me. I don't have it in my mind what it should look like, so I can't just pull off and draw something and expect it to look like anything. I'm just darkening this one side of this so it has a little extra dimension to it, following this example, how that's dark there and there. And this has some dark on it, so I want some green, but I want it dark. See how that is. And that's black almost. Okay. All right, let's see what we can do here. Oh, I don't know. Give you all this pep talk about how to do it, and then I'm going, oh, I don't know, I don't like it. It'll be fine. It will be fine. And if it's not fine, then it's okay. It's okay. All right, this has dark on this edge, so I'm going to put that down. These little water brushes are interesting to paint with. It's nice to have the water there, and I think I like it, but then again, it's not quite the same as the quality maybe of another a regular brush like that. I mean, this is not a quality brush, it's just an inexpensive brush. Anyway, it's different to paint with, but it's kind of nice. Especially nice if you're going somewhere and you're going to paint and you don't want to have, you know, water that you have to deal with. You can just use this, wipe it off on a towel or something, and squeeze the water out. Keep going. Let's see. I think I want this to be lighter here. Get back in my greener. Maybe a little yellow. And as I said, this vellum is a little different to paint on because it reacts differently than watercolor paper would, which would sort of, I think the watercolor paper would absorb the ink better, and this kind of reacts to the water and bends like it is now, but it leaves more of a streaked look, it seems like, with the paint. Okay, I'm just going to do this one more right here. I guess I need to fill in this area here. I don't quite know what that's going to be, so maybe I'll just do it like that. Okay, I think I have basically covered the area with paint. Not terribly happy with my rose there. I don't know exactly what it needs more of, maybe more dark. The leaves, I'm fairly okay with that. Maybe it could stand a little more darkness there. Let's see, get a little bit of this. Let's see where I said I was going to put darkness. That's the thing about watercolor. It does best if you don't overblend it and make it muddy. So sometimes you just need to stop. Don't keep going, just stop. Whatever it is that you have is going to be the best. So just make that decision when it's time to do that. Okay, I think I like that pretty good, and maybe my time to just stop has come. And up here, I'm going to add just a little more dark right in there, like that, and on this side as well. Bring this up like that. Okay. All right, what do we think? Is it time to stop? Probably. Am I going to? I don't know. Probably not. I still feel like this, oops. I still feel like this rose needs some dark areas there to, I wish I had, this was a vest I made one time, way back in the 80s, I think it was. And I wish I had more of that rose to look at. So anyway, I'm just going to try a little bit more darkness in there. Just this and maybe a little more purple and more red. I want it pretty red. Now, if I were a rose, how would I be blooming? I would have darkness in the center here. I don't know that I like that any better than what I had before, so maybe it's time to have stopped. I guess the good thing is this part's going to be behind the paper, so anyways. I really want a little red there. Like that. And on this also. Okay. We'll see what happens when it dries. And I'm going to let it dry just a while before I put it in my book. And I hope I can flatten it out a little bit. I may put it between some paper that is somewhat absorbent and just let it be pressed under my mat or something until I think it's dry enough to put it in the book. So that's these synthetic brushes also really stain with watercolors, but it doesn't seem to. Well, there's a little pink there. I generally wash them with soap after I've finished my session. I'm going to close this, put it aside, and bring this over. And just put this here and see what we think in general. Now that, I think, looks kind of pretty. That little red right there is a little peeking out too much. Maybe I can move it back. I like that. I like that fine. It's not great. I'm not an artist necessarily. I aspire to be an artist, but I'm not. So I'm going to put that under paper and turn off the camera for a little bit, and I will be back. I've done a few things since I stopped the camera before. I finished this. I let it dry a little bit. It's still kind of curled. But I took my Micron 03 pen. I may have used the one. Anyway, whatever it was. And went around parts of the roses. So I'm still not real happy with that part of the rose, but I'm going to live with it. And I decided I like the way this looks when it's just the buds. And so I'm going to use my washi tape and tape this down and leave the other side open, I think, unless it just curls up too much. Yeah. And then I decided it might be fun to have something on this side when you turn this page to be framed by that opening. So what I did is I found, well, it was a copy of this postcard. It was a postcard that my mother's grandmother sent to her July the 20th, 1919. My mother would have been 5 years old then. And it was, it says Series 571 War Nurses, 12 DES. I don't know what that part of it stands for. But it's this cute little card. It probably was maybe a Valentine, maybe. I don't know. Not in July, but they sent cards that were not appropriate for the time of year. Sometimes it'd be a Christmas card in the middle of the summer or something. They just used what they had. But anyway, I had made a copy of this at some point, and I had the Xerox over there. And so I decided that I would fussy tear. First thought I'd fussy cut, but then I decided I kind of like the way this gives them something to stand on. So I just decided to tear around it. And I used colored pencils. These colored pencils are from Michael's. Artist Loft is the brand. And it has a lot of colors. I guess they're kind of waxy. It doesn't say on here anything about it. But they do a really nice job when you just kind of circle around and color in. So obviously this was already Xerox colored. You know, it left a shadow on it like that is. But I went ahead and took colored pencils and went over it and kind of, it doesn't look so much like the original, but it has some color to it. Her dress is blue and things like that. So anyway, that's what I did. I'm going to put them on this side. Whoops, not on that page. I'm going to glue this at the top. And I don't want this to show through the opening, so I'm going to put it up just about as far as I can there. And then I think that'll be fine like that. It shows a little bit over the top, but, you know, you can't have everything. I might put some lace sticking up there or something to kind of hide that. I don't know. And then I'm going to put them down here. I think I decided they needed to go on this line and as far over that way as possible to be in the right position for this. Let's see, I don't have this quite right there, but anyway, like that. And I think that's kind of cute. And I just took my pen and did some writing on the ledger paper that doesn't mean anything. It's just faux writing. But I thought that would be cute to have that behind them because, you know, military and nurses, it could be accounting for that, you know, if you want to follow this story that far. But I think I do need a little bit more writing in there just to show up a little bit more. So I'll just start here and put in something, I don't know, let's see, let's start with a K or a Y and a I don't know, and just some numbers. And let's see, we'll make this one an L and some Y's and Z's in here too. I don't know. It's just faux. It doesn't matter. Just something to be behind them. And this is this up here is going to be covered up most likely, mainly these numbers. So let's put a little bit of something here like that. I used to work in a hospital as a ward clerk for 9 months in my career, and some of those doctors wrote just about like that. It was a challenge sometimes to know what they said. Ask the nurse, and she'd say, "Oh yeah, that's so and so. That's certain medication, or it's a certain test or something." It's like, how did you know that? But they knew because they knew what was the man or person was being treated for, and so they knew pretty much what he had written in his orders. Okay, I think that looks cute enough. So I'm going to get out my glue paper here and glue this back. Glue it down. Oops, it got wet or something there. Spent all afternoon on this, but I've had fun, so that makes it okay, right? Makes it okay with me. Get that out just a bit from that corner, and as straight as I can make it. This is getting kind of curved there because of everything else I put in this book. And then I'll get them glued. My mother kept a lot of, well, she kept all of the cards that she had gotten over the years. And I have a stack of postcards, is what I'm trying to say, that she saved. And a lot of them are very old, like that one that her grandmother sent her when she was a little girl. And just, you know, she'd write her something, "How is my little girl today?" or something like that on the back. Just something sweet. I think that looks cute. I don't know about if I should do anything else around there. I might come back and do something later when I think of something to do to it. And then on this, I'm going to put it all I really want is for that red right there not to show through. So about like that. And I'm going to use washi tape on that side. And I have some, so I happen to have some that has roses on it appropriately. Actually, I think I'm going to put this down and put the washi tape on the edge and then put it in the book so that I can get it in a better position here. Let's see where that is approximately. That looks pretty good. And let's see, back over here. This needs to be like that, I think. Yes, that will work. So I'll just do that. Hopefully that's straight. Seems to be fairly straight. And I'm going to cut that off. Well, I could wrap it around to this side, I suppose, and just have a little rose up there at the top. A little rose down at the bottom. Because that doesn't really need to be opened from that. So, all right, well, I guess that is my prompt, what was it, 18 cut out. And if I'd cut them out, that could be my fussy cut, but I just tore around it, so that's okay. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing what I did with this, and we'll try it yourself sometime because it's a lot of fun. And you don't have to be an artist to enjoy painting. That's my pep talk for the day. I wanted to show you, I wish I'd found these earlier. I could have copied one of these. Look how pretty that is. Here's to wish you daily wealth of friends, prosperity, and health. And that one says best wishes. Dear little girl, as tis morning this, oh, I can't read her handwriting. She's all by her lonesome. And this one was from my grandmother back to her mother. And she said, Dear Mom, I hope you have gotten my letter long before now. If you could pass your butter bowl and bucket, I would fill them for you in a few more days. Our cow's calf died, but she is doing fine, and we will soon have lots of milk, butter, and answer soon, Maggie. And up here she wrote, P.S. I have 48 eggs sitting. We get from 8 to 11 a day. No date on that. That's kind of unusual that she didn't date it, but I thought that was just an interesting thing. I love the way they wrote letters and cards back then. It was just what's going on in the daily life, and it probably was very mundane to them at the time. But now, I mean, that would be very almost exotic for us to think about having that much milk and butter and eggs. So anyway, thank you for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.